In the heart of the prosperous kingdom of Umukola, there was a man named Okoro who had everything a mortal could desire. His wealth was unmatched, his lands stretched beyond the horizon, and his name was known far and wide. Villagers spoke of his success, and his name was sung in praise. But those same villagers also whispered of his one shortcoming, his lack of peace. Okoro had married not one, not two, but 10 wives over the course of his life. Each time he married, he believed that this wife would bring him the happiness he so desperately craved. But every time, disappointment awaited him. His household, rather than being a haven, was a battlefield. Each of his wives vied for his attention, sparking endless quarrels and rivalries. His once grand home echoed with the sounds of bickering and complaints. Okoro spent sleepless nights, staring at the moon through his window, wondering why his life felt so hollow. Despite his riches and marriages, his soul felt as barren as a dry riverbed. One morning, as the sun rose over the village, Okoro sat on his porch, gazing at the vast fields he owned. Servants bustled around, carrying out his orders, but their activity seemed distant to him. His first wife, Amora, approached him with a furrowed brow. "Okoro, the other wives are accusing me of hiding the gold bracelet you gave me." "Again?" he sighed, running a hand through his graying hair. Before he could respond, another wife, Chioma, stormed in. "You never listen to me, Okoro. You're always siding with Amora. Am I invisible to you?" And so began yet another day of chaos in Okoro's household. He waved them off, retreating to his study, but the weight in his chest remained. He poured himself a drink, staring at the wall, thinking, "What am I doing wrong?" That evening, desperate for solitude, Okoro left his home and wandered into the forest near his village. He walked for hours, the tall trees providing a canopy of silence that comforted him. Eventually, he found himself sitting under an ancient baobab tree, its roots curled like the veins of the earth. "I have everything," he muttered aloud. "Why does my heart feel so heavy?" A raspy voice broke the silence. "Wealth and wives cannot fill an empty soul." Startled, Okoro looked up to see an old hunter standing before him. The man was frail but stood tall, his eyes sharp as an eagle's. Draped in animal skins, he carried a bow and a quiver of arrows. "Who are you?" Okoro asked. "I am no one important," the hunter replied. "But you seem like a man who has lost his way." Okoro hesitated, then shared his troubles with the old man. He spoke of his 10 wives, his restless heart, and his longing for peace. The hunter listened patiently, nodding as Okoro poured out his frustrations. When Okoro finished, the hunter said, "You seek peace in the wrong place. There is a woman who can bring you what you desire, but she is unlike any you have met. She lives in the land of the silent river." "The land of the silent river," Okoro echoed. He had heard tales of the mystical place, said to lie beyond the mountains. The hunter smiled. "If you truly wish for peace, you must journey there. But be warned, the path is not easy, and the woman you seek will test your heart." The next day, Okoro packed his belongings and set off. His wives were confused by his sudden departure, but he gave them no explanation. The journey to the land of the silent river was treacherous. Okoro crossed raging rivers, climbed jagged cliffs, and braved wild beasts. Days turned into weeks, and exhaustion gnawed at him. Yet, the thought of finding peace kept him moving forward. Along the way, he encountered travelers who warned him of the dangers ahead. Many have gone to the land of the silent river but never returned, one man said. Another added, why risk your life for a woman you've never met? But Okoro's resolve remained unshaken. He knew he couldn't return to his Celtic home without finding what he sought. After weeks of travel, Okoro finally reached the land of the silent river. The sight took his breath away. The river flowed silently, its waters as clear as glass. The air was serene, and the land seemed untouched by time. As he walked along the riverbank, he saw her. A woman sat by the water, her reflection shimmering in the stream. She was dressed in simple clothes, but her beauty was otherworldly. Her presence radiated a calm that Okoro had never felt before. "Who are you?" he asked, his voice barely above a whisper. The woman looked up and smiled. "I am Ada. And you are far from home." Okoro told Ada about his journey, his troubled life, and his desire for peace. She listened quietly, her eyes filled with understanding. When he finished, she said, "Peace does not come from wealth or the number of people around you. It comes from within. If you want peace, you must first find it in yourself." Ada agreed to help Okoro, but only if he passed her test. The next morning, she handed him a basket woven from straw. "Take this basket to the spring atop the mountain and fill it with water," she said. Okoro looked at the basket and frowned. "But this basket cannot hold water." Ada smiled. "Then you must find a way." Determined, Okoro climbed the mountain. He tried filling the basket, but the water leaked every time. Frustration mounted as he made countless trips to the spring, only to fail again and again. But he refused to give up. Eventually, he realized that if he lined the basket with large leaves, it could hold the water. Triumphantly, he returned to Ada. "You have shown patience and creativity," she said. "These are the seeds of peace." Over the next few weeks, Okoro spent his days learning from Ada. She taught him the value of simplicity and the importance of being present in the moment. "You've spent your life chasing things outside yourself," she said one day. "But true peace comes from within." Okoro found himself drawn to Ada's wisdom and kindness. For the first time in years, he felt a sense of calm. He began to see life through a new lens, appreciating the beauty of the world around him. When Okoro finally asked Ada to marry him, she agreed, but on one condition. "You must promise to treat me as an equal, not as someone to possess," she said. "Peace comes from partnership, not power." Okoro promised, and they were married in a simple ceremony by the silent river. When they returned to his village, something extraordinary happened. Ada's presence transformed the household. The wives, who once quarreled endlessly, found themselves drawn to her calm demeanor. Ada treated each of them with respect, and in turn, they began to respect one another. Okoro's home, once a place of chaos, became a sanctuary of harmony. Okoro's life changed forever. He learned that peace was not something others could give him. It was something he had to cultivate within himself. Ada became not only his wife but his partner, his guide, and his source of happiness. And so, the man who once had everything but peace finally found what he was searching for, not in riches or numbers, but in the wisdom and love of one extraordinary woman.